Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I'll say that again. I think I'm early with this shirt. I just realized, as I sat down today, Merry Krampus. I don't think he comes, though, until the night of the 4th into the 5th. I believe he happens, I believe, with Krampus is um, St. Nicholas leaves stuff in your shoe if you're good. And Krampus comes and steals kids who are bad. That's why, if you can see it, he's putting kids in a sack. Yeah. So, Merry Krampus, a day early. Is Bill here? Bill's here. Bill, you know what I'm thinking. I'm not going to say it. You know what I'm thinking, though. Let's do a show. What's so great about normal anyway? It is Thursday, the 3rd of December, 2020, and this is macOS Ken Live. I forgot to say hello to everybody in the chat room before the show started. Hi, everybody in the chat room. Stick around. I'll talk to you later. I mean, I'll talk to you now, but then we'll talk later. Hi, everybody. It's Ken Ray, welcoming you to another edition of macOS Ken Live. I say welcoming. Yeah. Second half of the show, we're going to talk about Deirdre O'Brien and her hopes for normalcy in the Apple Store. Not that we haven't learned some stuff, working from home and shopping from home and all that, but she'd like to see everybody come back to the stores because, they got these nice stores they built. We'll talk more about what she's talking about in the second half of the show. Really, though, it's kind of one big topic today. First half of the show, there was some interesting news that I ignored at first about Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Because first it seemed sort of stunty. And then the more I thought about it, it speaks, I suppose, to our times. Warner Brothers has decided that the 17 movies that they release next year, because they've got 17 movies on their slate for next year, all 17 of them are going to premiere on HBO Max at the same time that they're premiering in the theater. These are movies like Dune, Godzilla versus King Kong, or Godzilla versus Kong, excuse me, The Matrix 4, The Suicide Squad, and Mortal Kombat. It's actually a tie which of those two movies I care about less, The Suicide Squad or Mortal Kombat. James Gunn is directing The Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad. I know what you're thinking. Is it a sequel? I don't know. I guess not, because if it was a sequel, it would have been Suicide Squad 2. It was Suicide Squad, and now it's The Suicide Squad, so maybe the first one was generic. Anyway, James Gunn's the guy behind Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So, yeah, I will actually see. I have almost no use for the Disney universe, with the exception of Wonder Woman, as far as movies over the past, basically since the Chris Nolan movies stopped. So Wonder Woman 1984 is actually going to premiere on HBO Max on Christmas Day, all of which is to say, I guess I'm going to be subscribing to HBO Max pretty soon, which kind of annoys me because I had told myself I would not subscribe to any more new subscriptions until I got rid of an old subscription. So now I got to figure out if I'm saving money on Apple One Premiere, and then I'll probably cut my jogging app because I'm walking a lot, but I'm not jogging anymore. I'm paying $5 a month for music I'm not listening to. I was going to say you don't need to hear my problems, but you're gonna anyway. What's interesting is they're not doing what Disney Plus did. So Disney Plus earlier this year, because they were looking at taking a serious bath on Mulan, right? That was supposed to launch in March, when of course everything closed down instead. And so they eventually released Mulan early on Disney Plus in kind of a cruddy way. You had to be a Disney Plus subscriber, and then you had to pay an extra $30. But the thing is, that was only for early access, which, okay, we did here because we would have anyway, and it would have cost us more than that. So I guess you can, it's a cost savings, but not really. What's interesting about what Warner Brothers, no additional cost. You pay whatever it is that it costs to subscribe to HBO Max. I believe it's 14.99 a month, and these movies are going to be included. So you could either go to the movie theater the day the movie comes out, which not happening for me anytime soon, or you could go, go sit in front of your TV and watch these things for no additional cost. Now, they're not going to be released on HBO Max forever. This I don't quite understand. According to a piece from the Next Web, the films will only be on the platform for 1 month after their theatrical debut, after which point they'll disappear, be theater exclusive, and then be back on HBO Max when it's time for their proper small screen release. Okay, so you're going to give it to people for a month, but then if they want to see it after that month, they're going to have to go to a movie theater when generally speaking, you can't find a movie that came out a month ago in a theater anyway. The amount of time that you get to go see a movie in a theater tends to be maybe 6 weeks. So I guess you get an extra 2 weeks there of what I personally think experience. And this is where I'm going to get a little ranty. I mentioned, I think, on this show last week that I used to work in a movie theater. I used to work in several movie theaters, actually. I worked for a very long time while I was, first while I was in school, and then while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. Never made management even, although I did learn to run a projector. That was a lot of fun. My illustration of how you run a 35 millimeter movie projector actually used to hang in one of the theaters in Boston. Yeah, that's a claim to fame right there. Here's the real claim to fame. I replaced Casey Affleck at that theater. He quit because, he had a life, and I took over his position at that one movie theater. Yeah, the Afflecks and me just miss each other a few times in life. I have a love-hate relationship with movies, honestly. Anybody who has had or the movie theater experience, anybody who has had, the misfortune of watching the Oscars with me, knows that they get a rant in the middle of the Oscars because invariably somebody at the Oscars don't watch movies on your phone. Go to the theater and watch the movie. Have you ever been to a movie in Los Angeles? It's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. I went to, a couple of years ago, whenever Deadpool 2 came out. I went to see something in a movie theater, can't remember what. I was with the Roddenberry people, we were doing some stuff, and, in the lobby of the ArcLight was one of the Deadpool costumes, and it wasn't like a standee, I mean, it was a screen-used costume from the movie Deadpool 2. That's neat. And if you go to this theater, an usher will come in before the movie starts and tell you about the movie you're about to see, tell you who directed it, tell you what the running time is. I mean, they go all out. There's a restaurant in the lobby of this theater and the bar. I had fish and chips there one time before going to see another movie with John Champion. Um, Going to the movie is really great in LA. Costs a lot, but you can get drinks, you can get a full dinner, you will get somebody walk you to the theater, you will get somebody telling you about the movie for about the same price. I went to a movie in Nashville a few years ago and was handed 3D glasses. And I thought, oh, I didn't realize I had paid the extra for the 3D movie. Kind of bummed I would have saved it because I'm not usually a huge fan of 3D anyway. Got to the theater, put on the glasses, wore them for about 3 minutes before I realized I didn't pay extra for the 3D movie. It was just the usher handed me the 3D glasses because they don't care, because they have no idea anything about the theater going experience. It tends to be substandard, and stuff costs too much. And I'm an old man shaking my fist at the sky. I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing this with HBO Max. It seems to be sort of a bridge to get to normal, but who's gonna want that? And I'll be honest, I would rather go to a movie theater and watch a movie, but there are many things that I wish were different about it. I wish it cost less. And I don't mean to be a jerk about that because I know things cost more today than they used to cost. I get that. The only problem is once you get up to $17 for a theater or for a movie going experience, I need capes and explosions. At that point, I need, surround sound and, people flying in, and I need the world in peril. I'm not going to pay 17 bucks to go to a small independent foreign language film. Sorry. I mean, I wish I did. I wish I could. I was thinking about it earlier at the time that I worked at the movie theater, and it was easy then. I mean, first of all, because movies only cost like 6 bucks, but also because I could get into them for free because I worked at a movie theater. Movies used to be like going to a chapel. They used to be like, reflective, places where you would go and like sort of consider society. And now they're like mega churches, it's fire and brimstone. And that's your $17 as opposed to, parsing a little bit and, trying to figure out humanity. And forgive me, I say I have a love hate. I love the movie theater experience, or at least I love what the movie theater experience used to be. It's not what it was. And I know that there are people who were saying that when I was working at the movie theater. I knew a guy, one of the people who actually taught me broadcasting worked at the same theater where I worked, but he had worked there like 30 years before. And he remembered, having to wear an outfit, having to wear like a real, like, pressed and ironed and that whole thing. I wore a polyester vest. Warner Brothers isn't coming back from this. And I'm not saying they're not going to recover, and I'm not saying they're even in trouble, but Warner Brothers can't come back from this. Dune was supposed to be out this week. They held Dune because they thought they were going to be able to do a big theatrical release next year, and they may be able to do a big theatrical release next year. What this really says, though, is we're not going back to normal anytime soon. And I think that's why I'm having trouble with this story because we're not. So we get to watch the epic that is Dune, you know, with all of the distractions and small screens and I'm just gonna pause it and all that stuff. And I don't see how Warner Brothers thinks we're gonna walk away from that. The next web piece at the end of it was like, how like if I can watch movies on my TV or heck on my phone, how are you gonna get me back to the theater? I guess by charging $20 to be handed 3D glasses when you didn't see a 3D movie. I think I kept the glasses. Ranty, ranty, ranty. We'll talk really quickly about Deirdre O'Brien and her thoughts on going back to the Apple Store in a moment. I want to let you know really quickly, there's actually been a bit of interest in the show that I told you about yesterday, episode of The Checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. Probably it's because Patrick Wardle is being interviewed, and he's kind of being interviewed. I got to talk to Patrick Wardle. He's a well-known security guy. The question that I asked on Twitter, you trust Apple, you trust your firewall, but do you trust Apple to decide what your firewall should stop and what it shouldn't? Because Apple has apparently taken that upon itself to do. So Patrick joined us to talk about the issue that he found with that and what we can do to sort of protect ourselves, when the bouncer's just, letting in whoever. That is issue episode 209 of The Checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. You can find that wherever you find podcasts, or you can also go to the show's website, securemac.com/checklist. Got notes there for all the shows. You can actually listen to all the shows there as well. So go through the catalog, pick and choose, learn more, be the cybersecurity hero you always thought you could. That should maybe be our slogan. We'll talk really quickly about Deirdre O'Brien. Not about Deirdre O'Brien, but some of her thoughts on the Apple Store. She wants to go back to the Apple Store. I don't blame her. Said about the movie theater, completely different about the Apple Store. Of course, $20 to walk into the Apple Store. It does cost a bit more to walk out, though, if you want anything. She actually was at the what was it? The Fortune something or other something thus. She was speaking at a Fortune conference, the Fortune Brainstorm Tech Conference yesterday, actually. While she is impressed with what Apple has been able to do, saying if you had asked me a couple of years ago, could Apple do what we've done this year on shifting working from home? I would have been challenged to imagine it, she said. Still, she's imagining going back to things as they were. We're taking advantage of the new skills that we have learned during the pandemic, she said. We also do feel that collaboration and many times face to face work does allow us to do our best work and sometimes move a little faster. She does say that Apple will find the right balance. Really, though, what she says is we want to make sure, especially as you come into our stores, that you can experience everything that we have to offer. That means, for instance, being able to come in, learn about the products, take in a seminar on a new product or feature, and get a Genius Bar consultation in person. That's been a bit more challenging in our stores for our customers, she said. That'd be neat. I started off joking, what's so great about normal anyway? There's some stuff that should have changed a long time ago. There's some stuff that should change now. We seem to be focused on just wanting to get back to normal. But we don't want to get back to normal. We just want to be normal. We just want to act like it's normal. There seem to be two groups. One who's willing to work towards normal and one who just wants to pretend everything's fine and let the chips fall where they may. So that's fun. I wish I had something incredibly inspiring to say. I wish I had something hopeful to say. Honestly, had something come across my newsfeed right before I came onto the show. Apparently, President-elect Joe Biden has said he's going to ask Americans to wear a mask for the first 100 days of his administration. So it's good to see he's already found the first thing he's going to fight with half the country about. I had thought it might be something economic, but no. Looking forward to having those fights again. I'm so glad you came. I'm sure you are too. Right, we do this every day, Monday through Friday. It's usually a bit more Apple-centric, and it's usually a bit more, it's not usually quite the downer it is today, and I don't mean to be a downer. Hey, you know what? You could turn my frown down by joining us for the live show. As I say, we do it every Monday through Friday, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. There are lots of people in the chat room I'm going to go chat with in just a couple of minutes. If you can't catch it live, I guess you know if you can't catch it live because you're either watching it on YouTube right now, youtube.com/Ken Ray, or you're listening to the podcast, cleverly titled macOS Ken Live, available wherever you get podcasts. So really, I'm just telling you stuff you already know. Let's see. We've got macOS Ken tomorrow morning. We've got in a few minutes tomorrow morning. Oh, don't miss that. Adam Christensen going to spin the wheel of stuff. The wheel has questions. Adam has answers. You want to be there in a few minutes. Also available on YouTube or wherever podcasts are served. Yeah, I think I said all the things I normally say before I say goodbye. So I guess I'll say, talk to you soon. Don't be nice to me. Don't do it. I will turn this show around. Here's the cool about that movie theater, by the way. Can I tell two more stories? Can I really quickly tell two more stories that just didn't work for the show? It's fine. It's fun. I was there when I worked there from like the time I was 20, I think. I think I got the job the week of my 20th birthday. And I worked there off and on for like 4 years. I did different things. I went different places. I would always end up back at that movie theater. It was fantastic. What's great is it was right in Harvard Square. No, let me do the bad one first. I'll do the bad one first, then I'll tell you the good stuff. The bad one was movies used to cost $6, and I think the price went up to $6.50. And everybody used to joke that Harvard Square was in the People's Republic of Cambridge. The guy came to the theater one day and to buy a ticket, because that's mostly what we did. We sold tickets to movies, and then we showed movies. We also sold popcorn. We were innovative. And I'm working in the box office. And this guy says, "When's the price going to go down?" And I said, "Well, we have matinees before 4." And he's like, "No, no, no. When is the price going to go down?" And I was stymied. I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, the movie used to be $6." I said, "Yes." And he said, "And now it's $6.50." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "When is the price going to go down?" And I seriously said, "When you stop paying $6.50." And I was like, I apologize. I don't understand your question. Name another thing. And you could do this because, it was Cambridge. I said to the guy, name another thing that the price went up. I mean, it's not like a commodity or something. Name another thing where the price went up and then went down. You're paying $6.50. Guess what? And now I think $6.50. My goodness. Here's the other great thing about that movie theater. It was in Harvard Square. And so the very first time I met Dana Gould, he doesn't remember this, but why would he? Was at that theater. He showed up at the movie theater to buy a ticket. Let's see, Paul Benedict. Remember him? He was in the Jeffersons, and he used to be on Sesame Street. And he actually was in the Steve Martin play Picasso at the La Panagile, which was being produced at a theater there in Cambridge. And yeah, he came by. That was weird, because the guy who used to paint numbers in ketchup on bread on Sesame Street is standing there asking me for something, which was great. Kearns Goodwin and Dick Goodwin came in. Actually, they came a quiz show which was based on Dick Goodwin's book, Remember America, a voice from the 60s. Who else? Alan Dershowitz used to come by. He was a bit like you'd expect Alan Dershowitz to be. Who was the other one? Oh, John Lithgow. This is my favorite one, maybe. Not my favorite one, but, it's not a bad one. John Lithgow came to see a movie on a Thursday night or Friday night. I can't remember. It was a busy time, though, and he wanted to see a theater that was the first. It was the first run, and he tried to buy a ticket, and unfortunately, he got there late. We were sold out because we were. No offense to John Lithgow. I love John Lithgow. But he wanted to buy a ticket for the theater, and it was sold out. And I was like, I apologize. He's like, "Oh," and he looked, and he chose another movie. And then I saw one of the ushers later, and I said, he said, "Hey, do you know who's in the big house?" Big house being, we had theater. One theater was 500, the other were like 150, 200, and 200, I think. "Do you know who's in the big house?" he said. I said, "No, who?" He said, "John Lithgow." I said, "Son of a..." I told him that movie was sold out. John Lithgow bought a ticket to one movie and snuck into another one. See, he's just like people. That was a long story. All right. What are you guys saying over here? Hi, I'm sorry. Not sorry. What do you know what I mean? Do. I didn't say everybody's names either. John, Andrew, Brian, Bill, Roger, Donna, Chuck. I think I saw Chuck. David. Oh, look at that. Donna put it like a smiley sunshine face up there. Came to the wrong show today, lady. I should be more respectful. Amy's here. The new normal. Are you doing that, Amy? Are you doing that like the Beastie Boys? Like it's the new normal. Web Bixby in the house. Yeah, I think I got to that point, Brian, when I said that Warner Brothers wasn't coming back. I think you said this early. Movie theater releases and releases on studio streaming services will likely be one of the things that has changed even after the pandemic ends. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Here's the question, though. I know I've talked about him before. Zach Stantz, who is a screenwriter that I follow on Twitter. I think he's amazingly insightful. I think anybody who has even a passing interest in movies should follow him. He's not going to talk about Citizen Kane. He's going to talk about what's happening in the industry today. Are we done with the $250 million blockbuster, whatever? I know that what's his name, Martin Scorsese, got a $200 million deal for Killers of the Flower Moon or Flowers of the Killer Moon. I can't remember which one it is, which he's making for Apple TV Plus, which costs $4.99 a month. I'm not saying Apple's going to lose money on it, but can you keep making movies that cost $150 million, $200 million if you have no chance of making that back at the box office? I wonder. I would love it if it meant, going back to small films again. I would love it if it meant. I know there are plenty of places for that. That's the problem. There are plenty of places for that. I guess Netflix has a little bit. The Criterion Channel, IFC Channel, but you got to pay $5 for another one, $5 for another one, $5 for another one, in the hopes of maybe finding something good. That was the other thing about the movie theater where I worked. It was largely independent film and foreign film. Sliver. Came to see Sliver, and again, it's Cambridge, and I was a snobby 20-something-year-old. These three women came after work, obviously right after work, because they were still wearing, what you would obviously wear to work, and they said, one for Sliver, because they were buying individually. And the first one said one for Sliver, and I said, seriously? What a horrible person. It was a genuine question, though. I was literally surprised that anybody was seeing that movie. I don't think that makes me sound any better. Matthew. Oh, well, I hope you enjoy the show. Oh, you're saying you did enjoy the show. You like the idea of Adam Christensen's idea of an Apple cab. Yeah, it's a fun idea. I've heard it. It's, man, well, he's talking about in a few minutes. If you didn't hear today's in minutes, Adam and I talked about things that we would like to see disrupted by Apple, by which we meant, made better, not just disruption for the sake of disruption. Got plenty of that already. Am I right? Bill says, my prediction, the only theaters left after COVID will be Dolby Cinema, ArcLight style, and IMAX. Day and date combined with better home systems will wipe out most middle-of-the-road theaters. I want you to be wrong, and I don't think you are. I really want you to be wrong, but I really don't think you are. I would like to see movies get, less expensive, more accessible. But I'd also like a pony. Yeah, I just got a big 4K TV, expecting not to go to theaters anytime soon. I've always resisted the truly large television idea. Yeah, I'm probably going to give that up because I don't want to watch The Matrix on something that big. I don't even want to rewatch The Matrix on something that big. Huh. Roger, was that the Alamo Drafthouse, Roger? Roger says the only type of movie theater he's been to in the last 5 years is the kind that serves you your meal at your seat. Yeah. Even that's a little too much for me, though. Whatever. Purist. Good theater grade popcorn. Bill says his only issue is a reliable supply of good theater grade popcorn. Yes. Although, when I make popcorn at home, real butter. So everything's a trade. And Bill just lost me. Shout out to the mixed chocolate and regular popcorn. All right, look, that's fine. I might even be willing to try it if you're willing to share, but you're not getting my money for that unless I try it and love it, in which case you're absolutely getting my money for that. Get off my virtual lawn. That's when I was shaking my fist at the virtual sky, right? Brian says he wonders if the data predictions show that money brought in via the reliability of monthly subscription is more stable than the intermittent amount of money from theater ticket sales. Yes, I would imagine that that is true, Brian. I would imagine, honestly, that what Warner Brothers and HBO would rather see is predictable recurring revenue. At the same time, I think that means you get less Avengers Endgame. You get less capes and explosions, would be my guess. I don't know. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Interesting. Amy says watching a film with a good story on her laptop with headphones turns out to be a much more intimate experience for her. I could see that. My problem is there's just too much room for distraction. I started watching a movie the other day that was great. And it's not a small movie, but it's not necessarily the kind of thing that would have done well in the theater anyway. Or well, I started watching The Trial of Chicago 7 on Netflix the other day. Sacha Baron Cohen is in it, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Eddie Redmayne, and some other people whose names I should know, but I don't. Don't know who directed it, but it was written by Aaron Sorkin. It's interesting too because I remember seeing a made-for-TV production of the same story, not the same script, obviously, because Aaron Sorkin would have been 15. And I know that the actual principals were involved in that production because at one point they had a shot of the courtroom and they slowly turned the camera around and there was Abby Hoffman, there was Bobby Seale, there was Bill Kunstler, I think. Anyway, it's a good movie, and I was watching it in the same way, Amy. But you're at home and there are distractions. There you go. Yeah, Eugene is actually responding to what Brian had said, which was the answer that I just gave. You're not going to get as many blockbusters if you do that. That's interesting. Oh, bite your tongue. Sorry. Brian says that Eugene had a good point there, and he wonders if we'll get more part one, part two movies that are shorter in length, closer to the 90 minutes than 120 minutes plus. Those comic movies don't need to be so long. Take it back. See, that's the thing. I was going to say hypocrite, but let's go with paradoxical individual instead. I love a good, explosion movie. I'll go back and watch. I was just thinking earlier today, I'm probably going to go back and watch Black Panther this weekend. There's so much wonderful stuff in that movie. What I really should do is find a copy of Monsieur Ia and watch that instead. Or The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, which is a movie I love and don't recommend to anybody. Oh, good. Everybody's saying that the picture and sound were wonky for them. Well, I did record it, so thank you very much for asking, John, but I don't know what's going on with that. Hey, Rob. Rob was saying hi late in the show, but there he is. Hey, cool. John says he cleaned his glasses, but I'm still blurry. That could just be me, John. Could be me. Oh, Adam used to love hanging out in Harvard Square when he was younger. Long ago, used to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show there. Adam, when? When? Because you and I may have crossed paths without knowing. Because I used to go see Rocky there all the time, and then I quit going to see Rocky there because the cast annoyed me too much. When I worked in the theater, when were you there, Adam? Tell me. 80s and early 90s. All right. Yeah, so we would have actually crossed there a tiny bit. You know, they closed that theater. It's still sitting there vacant. They closed that theater in 2012. Tragic. Frank Sinatra played at that theater. The Clash played at that theater back when it was still a theater. Not 25, so it's not worth anything. Boo. I used to love hanging out in Harvard Square as well. Did you hang out in the pit? Did you go to the Tasty? You're not wrong, Adam. Very tragic. Ah, dude, I wish. Send me an email. I'll send you stories. Yeah, we're just babbling now, Matthew. Matthew says, wow, you're still going. Well, yes. Donna, why are you yelling my name? Of course I would say hello to Sophia. I missed it. I'm sorry. Hi, Sophia. How are you? I think I didn't curse today. I don't usually curse. I don't ever do it. Well, now I'm worried. Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay, Donna was trying to get me to. Okay. Used to hang out in front of the Obon Pass. So you were just down from the. You were just down from the pit. I'm sorry, Sophia. I'm glad you're here. You were just down from the pit, and Una experienced. I'm curious about Adam. Send me an email. Tell me a Harvard Square story, and I'll tell you 5 back. Or tell me 5, and I'll tell you 1 back. It's up to you. Right. I have to go turn this now into, or that first part into an audio podcast. Thank you all for hanging out, and thank you for the after talk, because honestly, I know I say it every day. It cheers me up, made me feel better. Sorry to subject all the audio listeners to the first part, but you know, it'll be all right. They'll listen tomorrow, and I'll be like, "Hey, you should have been here for the after thing," because we all held hands and had cake. Cake not included, right? I gotta run. Take care, guys and gals. Sophia, be good. Talk to you soon.